Hello, and welcome to another Monday Night Football at the Lions Den podcast. Another Monday night of lots of Club Leon English talk, as always, celebrating another Victory Monday. Leon, super líderes. I mean, that just makes us, smile from ear to ear, and we're here to talk everything about it. With me tonight, Louis and Carlos. How are we feeling, guys?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, with lots of continued guarded optimism.
First place.
From the
First place.
way we started the season. Yeah.
First place. I think, it was a crazy Liga MX weekend of football, which we will get into it, just to say the least. The big teams went down, America, Tigres, and Monterrey. So we'll definitely have a quick run through kind of what those scoreboards look during the weekend. But hey,
in pretty crushing fashion in all cases. Yeah.
Yeah, very entertaining to watch too.
Yeah.
Watch them go down. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on Leon versus Morelia, because it was a match, guys, that we kind of saw it as a revenge regarding what happened in Liga last season versus the first and second leg. With Morelia, Louis expressed his anger and his kind of low key hatred versus Morelia. So I'm sure he was celebrating to the max that night, right, Louis?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As I mentioned before, Morelia was never a team or a fan base I ever had anything against. In fact, I respected, and to some degree still respect, anyone who ardently supports Morelia when they could support, any other big club por moda. But no, they're a Morelia fan. There's a lot of people in our fan base who I respect for the same reason, being provincial club. Obviously, Leon is a much bigger club with a much bigger history, a much more important history. But I do have some respect still, and always will, for ardent Morelia supporters. And you see them out in force when you go to their stadium. So yes, but putting all of that aside, I really desperately wanted this win more than any time we've played Morelia in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. I mean, you always want to win anytime your team plays, but a win against a specific opponent, yeah, this one felt just a little bit better, even though it wasn't necessarily a dominating win, footballistically speaking. But the end result and the 3 points, coming out of there with all 3 points from Morelia, made it for a pretty sweet drive back to Guanajuato. I'll tell you guys that. Yeah.
Definitely. Looking ahead of this game, Carlos, give us a team news ahead of this match.
Sure. So last week it was reported that Ivan Rodriguez practiced for the first time at full intensity with the first team. I don't know if you guys heard of that or not, but it looks like he's going to be returning pretty soon. So we're going to have a pretty strong defensive midfielder coming back. Good news for the team. And then Angel Mena, I don't know if you guys knew this either. He was only 1 goal away from reaching Boselli's goal quota with Leon in his first 3 seasons, and he actually surpassed him with that goal that he scored on Saturday. And then we also had Nico Sosa get his first call-up, and he only played garbage minutes. But I don't know. I think I have mixed emotions about why he only got, what was it, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
5
maybe?
minutes. Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Definitely. Lineup for the match. Repeated lineup. Cota and goal, Navarrito, same center back duo, Tecillo Barreiro, Jairo Moreno, Montes, Pedro Aquino, Mena, Meneses, Sosa, and Ramos. So repeating 11, no surprises, right?
No.
We weren't surprised for Ambriz laying out this.
Yeah, I think he's going to stick with Barreiro going forward. I don't think he's going to make any changes. If he was going to make any change, I think he would have done it by now. But I think he's just going to stick with Barreiro.
What do you think, Louis?
Yeah. I mean, all of our other options have their own flaws. And I think, I like Ramiro, but I think Ramiro is just a casualty, just as Joel Campbell was this convocatoria, of just, we have too many foreigners on the roster. We can't have them all in the match day 18.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in a center back where you don't expect to have to make a sub really, or a variante, I mean, he's going to be the first casualty in those circumstances on a match day squad. So I like Ramiro, but I think even if Ambriz prefers Barreiro even a little bit, that means that Ramiro's on the outs for the foreseeable future, which is unfortunate, but just kind of the situation on our roster right now kind of makes that necessary. At least in league matches. I don't know, maybe in CONCACAF things could change. Maybe he has more opportunity, but for now, I don't expect to see Ramiro. And I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't see Miguel Herrera winning a spot over the two that have been starting. I just don't see that. So yeah, I think this lineup is. I mean, the back line is where you might see some changes maybe, but that's really the only spot I think we're going to see the lineup stay as it is for the foreseeable future. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this, and we're going to keep talking about this until something happens, or we see improvement, or depending how it's looking ahead of champions, if there's any modifications that are needed, because they will be playing twice in a week. But yeah, I think I agree, Carlos. He's going to stick with Barreiro, unfortunately, and I say that because I think we've given him time, and I'm just thinking he's a liability at this point. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, especially that matchup, I just can't with Barreiro. And I agree, Louis, Ramiro's my guy. Ramiro's my dude. Like, if I had the option of, starting him or Barreiro, I 100% Ramiro,
Yeah, and there could be pressure from above Ambriz to play Barreiro because he's like with it. He's someone who's been within Pachuca for a while. And they want to show that he is a worthwhile contributing piece. So there could be other factors besides just Ambriz's personal wishes. Again, we've talked about this in the past, that there are other examples of this. I don't know. I agree. I just don't. I agree with you. I would feel more comfortable with Ramiro in there as opposed to Barreiro. But it's looking like Barreiro's the guy.
Yeah, I think the only other position that I think might change going forward is if Leo Ramos doesn't start producing. I think if he has another 1 or 2 blank games where he doesn't do anything, or he doesn't have at least 1 goal, I think we might see Nico Sosa jump in there and get some minutes.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Leo Ramos to blossom, as it were. But if anything, he's getting more logy, less productive, more maybe in his own head, but also defense is just exposing his weaknesses. He doesn't play with pace. His reaction time is slow. He's big and strong, and he holds up well, but he's not getting he just doesn't have the touch or the reaction time right now to produce when the few clear chances that are coming his way. So yeah, I would throw Nico Sosa in the fire and give him a real chance right away. But clearly, that does not seem to be the plan they have for him.
Right.
I mean, we were all awaiting his debut, and he got it, but like pretty throwaway debut. I mean, that's not a debut. That's almost less satisfying than having him not play at all.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I think the contrast of Ramos last game, having an assist and having a goal, obviously, Mena le dio esa confianza to, like, hey, try and, here's my confidence to you that, we believe in you and all that stuff. I mean, he had a great game last game, but the contrast, it's totally opposite. And he had the whole 90 minutes pretty much, which at one point I said, what, Ambriz, this is the game for Sosa. This is the game for him to come in. I was calculating minutes 65, 70, give him a good 20, 25 minutes to kind of merge into the game, take out Ramos. Ramos was not doing anything. And like Carlos stated, Sosa got garbage minutes, 89th minute, 5 extra minutes, boom. We could not see anything.
Yeah.
He had good movement.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, the only thing I would say that would maybe keep us from passing too much judgment on how the Sosa debut went down is that I think Ambriz wanted to be really careful about the subs that he made, considering that the game was never really a sure thing. It was never at any point completely in hand. And you notice that the first 2 subs he made were defense coming in for offense.
Yeah,
which is unusual.
it.
Which is unusual. That's not. I mean, that's not how we usually do it. I mean,
exactly.
And it's not how it doesn't really play to our strengths, I feel. But you could tell, like, he was really afraid of losing this game. He or at least giving up the draw. Dropping points. He was really afraid of dropping points. So he played it safe, and I think he wanted to make sure to save that last sub. For another defensive-minded sub, or just, I don't know. I think he was afraid to bring in Nico and give him real minutes when the game was so
undecided,
hanging in the balance and undecided as it was from start to finish. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing I would say. I don't think it's necessarily anything against Nico, or if they're afraid to give him a real opportunity because they don't believe in him. I don't think it's that. I think they want to give him his first real minutes when he can get in there and feel comfortable, and when they can feel comfortable with the situation, which the situation was never comfortable.
Yeah,
that would be the only thing I would say.
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think the game was never, decided. Leon dominó, Leon had control of the game. We know we were going to score up to 3 goals and blah, blah, blah. I think it was, it was very rough. We said it defensively. It was rough watching it and making the subs. I understood them. I hated them because we said, this is not Leon. Leon's not the type que se echa para atrás, keeping it safe. But I understood why Ambriz did it. I just was not a fan at the moment. Obviously, the game's on. I'm watching what's happening. I'm saying, why Miguel Herrera? Why Osby right now? When we need to just keep going forward. And I agree with Louis. I think he was just afraid he was going to, against Morelia. He was going to lose against Morelia in just regular season. And it, kind of the flashbacks from Liguilla and, I agree. He wanted
absolutely.
To play it
the revancha was on his mind as much as it was on ours and anyone else's. And he didn't care about scoring again. He wanted to do whatever he could to play not to lose. And we've criticized him endlessly for that. Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you, Kari. I get it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. We get it, but we hate it. That's just, the best. This is a cliche, obviously, but the best defense is a dominating offense. It's never been more true than it is in the case of Club Leon when they've played well, when they've played to their strengths ever since the bicampeonato. Ever since the Matosas days. No matter how many they score on us, we're going to score more. That has to be the mentality, even when you're winning. And especially when you're winning, but you're in danger of losing or losing the lead at every single moment, every single point.
Yeah, I think the first substitution where he put in Osvaldo Rodriguez, I think that one I can understand the most because he didn't take out Jairo. He put him in the attack.
Yeah, so which is what we've been kind of mentioning before, right?
Yeah, so his game is more of a speedy type of game. So if we were gonna stick to defending, then we would have to play on the counterattack, and Jairo would be the perfect option to do that because I think he's one of the faster guys on the team.
Yeah. And we didn't have a guy available like Campbell to just insert up front like they have been doing in previous matches. He was not available. So I understand, maybe that was part of the thought process too. Well, Jairo can go back to his maybe more natural.
Oh, did we lose Louis?
Uh-oh.
Louis froze. Yeah, I think I agree, Carlos. That first substitution made sense.
Yeah.
You back, Louis?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying, yes, that could have been part of the process. Like Carlos was saying, they didn't take out Jairo. They just put him a little bit farther forward, which is arguably his more natural position. Ambriz has kind of converted him into a wing back, but his more natural position is winger, like a more traditional left winger. And without a guy like Campbell available, okay, yeah, you push him forward, you bring in Osfi, but it's still, I don't know. cautious. It was still defense for offense. It's still I wasn't a fan of it.
The betrayal of our style,
A betrayal of our style.
what we stand for,
Yeah.
No, I agree. We have someone in the comments, in the live chats. ¿Qué tal la Ruge Meludonos? Hello, Enfírate. Thanks for joining. Unfortunately, the result makes up for the defense. So poor, except Cota. Leon won despite Leon himself. Cota had a good night.
He did. And I think if it weren't for Cota, we would have lost this game. We would have gone out.
Yeah.
I think it would have been like 4-2 Morelia, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he had that many interventions, and I don't think he should have intervened in that many plays. But saying that, I think we have to be honest with ourselves. This wasn't a good Leon match. I think that we shouldn't sprinkle it with sugar, as we like to say. We shouldn't sugarcoat it. It was probably, out of the first 4 match days, was probably the worst match so far.
Probably was. Yeah,
I agree. It was poor.
Probably.
Yeah,
was.
we won, but it was very, very poor.
Mm-hmm.
Very poor. It was not fun to watch, especially second half where, offensively, we weren't doing anything.
Yep. I think the only first 5 minutes was like the best, and then after that it was
died off.
Yeah, everything was just dead.
Yeah.
Well, they once they gave up the tying goal just shortly after going up, this is what we've noted so many times, where they just when there's any sort of hint of adversity, they freak out and they get out of their style and into their own heads. And I think that's what happened. And unfortunately, this time they never really found themselves again. It was an uncomfortable match the rest of the way. Yeah, they Meneses borró su error, and he gave us the victory, but it was never comfortable.
Yeah,
very uneasy the whole
game.
I was just like, oh, we're gonna it's gonna end in a tie. Like, there goes what I was really thinking. That I was like, okay, Ambris metió dos cambios defensivos. Okay, this could end either one way. Either we milagrosamente end this in a 2-1, or it's gonna go the other way, very bad, and los echamos totalmente atrás, and everybody's gonna be just disoriented, and they're gonna get us on a disconcentration. Like that's what I thought was gonna happen.
Yeah. It's tough to know exactly what to make of it, especially winning a game in which you didn't play well. I said last week after Pachuca that that was a dominating performance, the most dominating performance we've seen in a long time, with an asterisk, because Pachuca is not a team that can make our defense pay. But then you go see Pachuca go out and absolutely take care of business against Tigres, and they look like a completely different team than the one that we faced, and we look like a completely different team than the one that faced them.
That's true.
And maybe I was too hard on the defense against Pachuca, or I was too hard on Pachuca's offense. Maybe our defense did do a better job of stifling them than I gave them credit for. Maybe they just didn't play well against Morelia, or maybe Morelia's, they've played us so many times recently. They know Pablo Guede knows how to scout us. He knows how to exploit our weaknesses. And we just didn't game plan well enough against that. Maybe we just played poorly. I don't know. I think it just goes to show every game is different, and that it's still very early in the season. Teams are still finding their identities. It's hard to know exactly what to make of it. All we can talk about is the game that we saw. We did not play well against Morelia. Did play very well defensively against Pachuca, or at least made it seem like we did. Maybe Pachuca's offense is better than I gave them credit for. We just kept them from scoring, and maybe this was just a setback. Maybe the next game they'll look great again. I think 4 matches in, it's still too early to tell what exactly we're working with still, or yet, I should say.
Yeah.
It's again, you can't sugarcoat. That was not a good performance.
Yep.
But I will say, just ask Cruz Azul, just ask Chivas. It's much better to play poorly without dropping points.
Yeah.
It's much more preferable.
That's funny. No, good point.
And good teams, really good teams, tend to be able to do that, to still win when they didn't play their best match. Whereas mediocre teams tend to give up a late goal to tie it,
Known as Cruz Azulear.
Known as Cruz Azulear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
and that was one of the most epic ones I've ever seen. That was, yeah, and you knew it was coming, but it was still, you knew it was coming, and it was still. I couldn't. I don't think I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Yeah.
Louis enjoying the Cruz Azuleadas.
Well, I was telling my buddy, I don't want to live in a world where that story does not keep repeating itself.
There'd be no point to it. They have
Yeah.
no meaning, especially in Liga MX.
Yeah.
So we were up ahead on the scoreboard, like Carlos said. We had a great, first couple of minutes and the first half. Obviously, then came very bittersweet because not that much time passed before Morelia drew. But let's talk about the second goal because it was a beautiful goal. Set up Tecillo, Sosa, and Meneses, which we've said before. Meneses, he's on fire every single game. Very, very proud of Meneses.
Yeah, it was a good way to make up for his mistake in the first half, which I don't pin on him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for it. I blame Cota because Morelia was high pressuring and he gives the ball to Meneses, who has his back towards Morelia. So like as soon as he turns around, there's Aldo Rocha, who I also wanted to bring up because he celebrated the goal against us, and I don't like that. I don't respect that.
I don't think I've ever heard Carlos say, I don't like that.
I don't like that, man.
I don't respect that.
Was that the first goal he scored against us in a Morelia shirt though? I feel like there have been others already.
You think so?
Maybe I'm misremembering, but I
should look into
I don't. Yeah, I don't remember any, but he did celebrate it, and I don't think he should have. Coming out of Leon, being a Leon Canterano, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he still has feelings.
You think so?
I think he feels slighted by this franchise.
I do too.
And I think he's right to feel slighted by this franchise. It's not like he played some legendary years here and chose to leave, under his own terms. No, he fell out of favor and was forced out.
Mm-hmm.
And also he's been on an absolute tear just everywhere. I mean, he had a brace in their Copa match that they came from 3 goals behind to force PKs in Copa.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was hands down the MVP of that match. I mean, he's been great, really, pretty much since joining Morelia on loan, but especially the last year or so. I mean, he's just been great for them, and that's his team now. We might not like it, but that's his team. That's the team that has allowed him to reach his pinnacle of success. So I think he felt slighted, and I think as time has gone, he just doesn't feel like he identifies with Club Leon anymore.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like he goes like 110% when he goes against us, especially.
Like this is why y'all miss me. This is what you guys let go, which I think at the time that he was in Leon, I really saw the potential in him, and I really liked him whenever he played for us. Obviously, whether it was the coach or other players in that position, it was competition. He wasn't really the big favorite in that, but I know I told you guys about my uncle this past December. We were talking about La Rocha, and this, I'm not going to say it's true or not because everybody can make their own decision. But from what he told me, because he has friends that are associated, whatever, but Boselli was the one that kind of made the decision of, what players needed to come and go. But I think it's funny that Carlos brings it up because I feel like maybe a part of him is like, kind of like, this is what you guys missed out on. This is, because he, like Louis said, he has been playing very, very well, like respects to Rocha and what he's done in Morelia so far.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's resentment necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I think, at some point he would probably, I don't think he would not be welcome to the idea of playing for this club again. I don't think it's hate. I don't think he detests Club Leon, but I also don't think he feels like he owes us anything. I don't think he feels like he owes the organization anything. And I didn't have enough time to get attached to him to the point where I feel offended by him celebrating a goal against us. There are other players who I would feel that way. I feel like Elias has scored against us, and I think he's been a little bit more guarded about it. Just like he was when he scored against Morelia. He's from Morelia.
Mm-hmm.
He started with them, and he has spent so far his best years with us. And he's been a little bit more guarded in his celebrations when he scores against Morelia, even though they hate him for some reason. They boo him every time he gets a touch.
I would never boo Elias.
Still,
never boo El Patrullero.
I don't really know. That was a little before I got really into all of this, so I don't really know exactly what the details there. If it's maybe just because he's a native son and he started with them, and they feel slighted too, but they let him have it, but he still respects them. So
yeah.
But I don't feel that way with Rocha. We didn't get enough. He didn't do enough because it's not his fault that he didn't do enough. He didn't get a chance to do enough. But I'm okay with him celebrating against us. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Rocha. Very, very, very admirable player to just keep an eye on, see where he lands next, whether it's Liga MX, or who knows.
Absolutely.
They're always eyeing players. So, let's see, Mena, 5 goals in 4 games, correct?
Yeah.
El Ángel del Gol, líder, like Carlos says, super líder León and goleador so far.
I mean, he said he wanted to be the goal scoring champion this year. So, this season. Sorry. So far he's doing well.
And I feel like he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
Still, I don't think he got the credit he deserved when he was already the goal scoring champion once for us, and I don't think he gets the last season for sure. He was in Macias' shadow. In terms of just sheer goal scoring numbers, they wanted Macias to be the guy there. Obviously, he took all the PKs. They wanted him to be the guy with the numbers. But now, I think it's pretty incredible. We're still talking about a guy who Cruz Azul absolutely threw away. They let him go for free. He was not in their plans.
I still remember how they announced him with the drones. They're like,
oh yeah,
that was really cool.
I mean, they're not suffering. They have Elias now, and Elias is tearing it up on the right wing like he always has. I mean, I think he might be playing as well as he ever has. So I mean, they're not suffering in that position. But to think, I mean, they let Mena go for free, and he,
the biggest regret of their lives.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They probably don't see it that way because Elias has played so well. But I mean, still, there are some Crystal people who are like, well, of course he went, and of course we let him go for nothing, and then he goes and shines for another club because they've had some history with that. But yeah, I don't think he gets. I was reading something that the Liga MX social media always puts up like the super líder and the they always put up a graphic for the super líder and the líder de goleo and the mejor defensiva for the up through whatever jornada it might be. So they put up the Mena líder de goleo and a bunch of comments, and it's like, well, yeah, he scores a lot, but in the key moments for his team, he's desaparecido. He's missing. He doesn't show up. And I replied to one of them, and I was like, well, he did show up in literally the most important moment of last season, but VAR is like Father Time, undefeated.
Wow.
So nice. Yeah, I mean because he did. I mean, that was the most important moment of our season, and he showed up and he scored a legal goal, but they took it away because of VAR. So that's not his fault,
Still mad at that.
Yeah. But we got a little bit. We got a little bit of revenge for that this past Saturday, even if we didn't play well.
True. Just a couple of comments on the chat. Fernando Renteria, saludos, Lions and family. Hello, thanks for tuning in.
Hello,
my
Fernando.
friends at the Eagle Eye Podcast. Hello, Lion family. Hello.
Hello, Eagles. Get eaten by the lion.
Right? Well, hopefully we'll have a good. Frequently, yeah, in their own home, too. And we have another comment by Enfierate saying Leon looked better playing long pass than going out playing with a short pass. You make a big mistake in trying the famous tiki-taka against rivals that dominate the high pressure.
That's a good analysis, I think. I think the only time that we did well this season against high pressure was against Santos. Other than that, I haven't seen our team do well against high pressure, especially this past weekend against Morelia. Even in the first match against Querétaro, I think that their high pressure was a little too much for us. But against Santos, it was great. I think that we did a great job against Santos. But other than that, we still have to work on that. We still have to work on either finding some answer for high pressure with the long pass or working on tiki-taka, like Enfierate said.
Yeah. Hopefully we just play better next game.
Yeah. I mean, the fortunate thing is, we looked uncomfortable the entire match, but the only goal we end up giving up is off of a critical mistake of our own. It wasn't. And I think there's something to be said for that. Yeah, Carlos, you don't want Cota or any goalkeeper to have to make that many interventions, but when the goalkeeper does have to make interventions, you want somebody back there who's going to make the right decision and be in the right spot. I mean, that's that you want to have that security, and that's why you have a goalkeeper like Cota who's done so many good things. So it's not nice to have to see him so involved in the game, but you like that when he is involved, he's doing his job.
Yeah.
To put it simply,
I feel safe with him.
And we had a couple of really decent chances to increase our lead too that we just didn't get a good final touch. Ramos had that one.
Yeah.
That one also that should have been a tap in, and Mena had another one where he just didn't get a. Well, he beat the 2 or 3 defenders and had a clear shot, and then decided to make a poor pass back out. This, like they're saying, the short passes did not go in our favor at all.
Yeah.
So I think we had a chance to increase the lead to 2 or 3 more goals, and we didn't do that either. So it's not like we played a great game offensively either. We had 2 great chances that we finished, and they had one. That was basically what it came down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Morelia's finally. I think they're one of the few teams in the league who have figured out how to play against us, because last season we didn't win one game against them, whether it was regular season or the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they figured us out. Pablo Guede knows the formula of how to play against us.
He does, but luckily I don't see them as a Liguilla team. I don't think they're very good. Yes, they know how to play against us, but their roster has some serious holes. Mm-hmm. And I think they're kind of back down to their own reality of not being that good that often.
Yeah.
To say it mildly. So if we don't see them again, I'll be neither surprised nor sad if we don't see them in again this tournament.
It will be interesting. I think they had a kind of like a lucky run towards the end. So I think, like Lou had said last week, or Carlos, Orejas is a huge aspect of the team that's gone now. So it plays a lot, and see how they're going to do the rest of the season without him. Okay, so we're about to preview the game versus Monterrey. Just before the preview, Monterrey, we're going to quickly skim through the crazy jornada that we had, starting off with San Luis and Chivas, 2-2 draw. A very interesting game I had to catch on YouTube because here in the U.S., it's not Atletico San Luis doesn't have any rights, any TV rights with anybody. So 2-2 draw, which we like that. Atlas winning 2-1 against Xolos. We Leones winning 2-1 against Morelia. Necaxa 2-0 against Puebla. Monterrey losing against Querétaro, which I will question Eddie in a bit and seeing what happened that game. Pachuca winning 2-0 against Tigres. Back to back, guys. Come on. Monterrey lost. Tigres lost. Santos versus Pumas once again, because as we know, they played like back to back in Copa MX, and then now this I got tired of seeing Santos Pumas like for the third time.
Yeah.
I think Santos so far the biggest fraud in the Liga MX. Even bigger than Chivas, I think, because they're a powerhouse. And if it weren't for that one win that they got against us, which they got a lot of help from VAR, they'd be at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, because they only have 4 points.
Yeah.
14th currently. So it's going to be interesting to see if they make a comeback, because they just look very, very different in some aspects. So it's good to see Pumas holding up against them. Another game, America versus Juarez. I watched that game and I loved it. Juarez winning 3-1. I like watching Juarez. I think last couple of seasons, I really liked watching Veracruz. Veracruz is now gone. So I think Juarez is my other, team to kind of keep an eye on, because they do have great players. And there's some people out there that really underestimate what Juarez, how they play. And, anyways, Juarez is a good team. If you guys need another team to kind of watch and keep an eye on, watch Juarez. The winning 3-1, America had Jorge Sanchez expulsado, red carded. And then, as Louis had stated, the crazy Toluca Cruz Azul, which ended in a 3-3 draw. The eagle eye guys said boo and blocked. Well,
no, I think it was a fun result to see for sure. You take it with a grain of salt because America was down a center back from minute 1. They played the entire match down a man. So I mean, you have to, especially when it's a central defender, you have to take a goleada en contra, playing that entire match without your starting center back. That result has to be taken with a grain of salt, but it sure was fun to see. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take anything away from Juarez. I mean, they still had to go do their job. To their credit, they've played America pretty well in the Estadio Azteca. They eliminated them from a Copa. I think it was last season or the season before. But I agree. I think they're a team to watch. They're fun to watch. I think they will fall back down to earth eventually. I don't think they have the squad to keep winning through a full season.
I don't know.
As long as they lose on March 8th, that's fine with me. Because I'll be up. I'll be up there watching.
I love how you have that memorized. March 8th. They're going down March 8th.
27th in LA, the 1st in Guadalajara against Chivas, and then the 8th again on the road in Juarez. So I got it all thought out, at least up that far. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I think Juarez is gonna make Liguilla.
You think so?
They might make.
I'm saying it live. I'm saying it here. Watch. Juarez will make Liguilla. Hot take. Juarez will make Liguilla.
Okay.
Okay. Save this video. Now moving along to our preview against Monterrey, which I'm so excited because we have Eddie from Rayados 90 joining us, and I will add him to the live stream right now. Eddie, how are you?
I'm doing great, I think.
You sure?
I just finished watching my hockey team lose in a frustrating manner while I was, putting together my mic and all that. So, and then you add in that Monterrey lost on Saturday. It's sports-wise, it hasn't been a good 48 hours for me.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I was like, you know what? We're gonna run through, and we're gonna definitely question Eddie with his Rayados because I'm just curious what happened that game. What did you think went wrong?
I'm still giving them time. It's kind of, I feel like they're jumping on a moving train because they're so far behind everybody. Everybody, for the most part, had December to put together their roster, go out and do some friendlies. They're pretty much using the Copa MX as maybe some type of friendlies. They're pretty much using the regular season as their tune-ups because for the most part, I think a lot of these clubs that either fell off the Liga early on or missed it completely, they had a couple 2-3 friendlies that they were able to put together, and for the most part, Monterrey had no time. A week before the season started, they finally came back from their vacations, so they had 3 weeks to celebrate. If you were following any of the players, they had a ball. If you Vincent Janssen became an overnight celebrity, but yeah, it's I'm still not panicking, especially after last season where they proved, well, hey, let's just get in. I mean, they've had seasons where they finished in first place and they crashed out in the semifinals. So last year kind of just made me realize that, you know what, just get in. And then after that, it doesn't matter who they face. Like I heard you guys talking about Santos. They completely destroyed Santos. And so for me, it's like, okay, just get in. Like, I don't care where you finish. Just get in. That's my I guess motto for as long as they have this talented team, because let's face it, they have the most expensive roster or squad in maybe all of the Americas. I think maybe Flamengo is only the other clubs that have like more expensive rosters, but other than that, Monterrey's right up there with some of the top South American clubs too.
Yeah.
Before we keep talking about football, talk to me about Rayados 90 account. When did you start it? What was your, kind of, adding Rayados and English content to the Liga MX community?
Yeah, I recently, I started last year around this time. Well, around this time, late January, early February. And for the most part, it was just because I know if you live in the US, a lot of the videos to like any stuff that the league puts out is geo-blocked, and even like the Fox or the regional broadcast is geo-blocked. So I kind of was like, okay, let me create an account, but let me twist it, and because I seen a lot of people starting their own accounts, but I think I wanted to add my own twist to it. I didn't see a lot of people creating their own GIF content, so I kind of was like, you know what, let me do that. And yeah, that's how it started. And then I started talking with Patrick Meehan, who's the co-host. He works for BN Sports, so it was like the first guy I ever saw talking Rayados in English. So his first account got suspended, and so I don't know where he went. And then I found them again, and I was like, that's when I brought it up to him, and let's just start a podcast and see where this goes, and see where this Twitter account goes. And then in 1 year span, I've grown to like more than 3,000 followers. A lot of the people within the club follow me. I've talked with people who work for like Marca. We're trying to put together this one podcast with this guy. I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to jinx it, but he messaged me back, and it would be the biggest interview I've ever had. But yeah, it's kind of taken a life of its own. I've met with I guess I kind of got introduced to Rayados Twitter with all the people who are really great people. In particular, there's Pam, Rompas, like all the guys that are other people that go into the Twitter account and to the podcast to help out. But it's kind of, I didn't expect for this to like turn into something, but it kind of has. So it's taken on a life of its own. It's something I didn't expect when I started it, but people like the gifts. I've gotten retweeted by like Gancha and all that stuff. So it's just, it's been a wild ride for less than a year, or for a year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
great
we
work.
appreciate, great work. We appreciate what you do for Monterrey in English, providing that content every time? Are
Just
you know?
I just wanted to try. This is something that
No,
kind
go
of
ahead.
slipped my mind. During the Club World Cup, even I got it started tagged by like journalists out in Qatar because they would tag me like in any of the photos from like the newspapers in Qatar. So that's when I was like, oh well, and they were like tagging me with like verified journalists. So I was like, I don't know if that kind of hit me. Was like, oh damn, like I don't know what's going on, but like just to be tagged with some of the the reporters from Monterrey, it was like wow, like it was surreal a little bit, but yeah, no, it's just like I said, it's just been a crazy ride from when I started this to now.
Nice.
That's cool. We have a question already from the live chat. Our good friend Cesar asks, on a scale of Cubo Torres to Zlatan, how nice was that goal by Nahuel Pan?
It was nice. It was nice.
Come on, Eddie, be honest. Be honest.
It was okay. It was all right. It was all right. I mean, I've seen Funes Mori score chilena, so it's like, come on. I've seen
in the final.
Yeah, I've seen Funes Mori score some very beautiful goals. So like my I guess my impressive level is like it's double. Yeah, it's like
or
come on.
What's his name? Aviles Hurtado.
Yeah,
He's had
Yeah.
golazos. Louis and Carlos, what players do you guys think that Rayados needs to keep an eye on for our next matchup?
Our players.
Yes. What players do Rayados need to keep an eye on?
Our wingers, right? I think Angel Mena, he's the top goal scorer right now. So I think that, if you want to keep the ball out of the net, you got to keep Mena in control. And then Meneses, who's quietly having a really good season. I think Louis mentioned this in the last podcast. He's like one of the most important pieces of our roster right now. I think it's our wings more than anything.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Ismael Sosa to have a breakout game. He played well against Monterrey last time that we faced them. But yeah, I mean, Meneses and Mena, you gotta stop those guys from having their way if you want to have success against us. Yeah, and maybe this is the game where Leo Ramos finally looks like a professional,
Yeah, I think I think both, like Carlos said, both of our wingers very creative on the wings. Meneses on the loose is very dangerous. He is someone that you really want to restrict, and you just give him a little bit of space, and he just knows how to handle that wing. If Nico Sosa gets the opportunity, why not? Why not? Watch out for the potential that we've been waiting for like 5 jornadas now, to see what he can do. Obviously, what Luis said, we want to see Ramos come through. We do. We want to give him that confidence, but I think maybe this is the matchup where if Ramos doesn't start doing something the first 55 minutes, then we got to give Sosa opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm hoping they'll give him the opportunity, even if the circumstances aren't the most comfortable for Ambriz to try him out. Like at some point, you just got to throw him into the fire, because you're going to need him to play no matter what you're going to need him to play well no matter what the circumstances are. Winning, losing, Liguilla, final, Conca Champions, whatever it might be. The guy's got to be able to be thrown into the fire and produce, and he's not going to get comfortable doing that if he doesn't have an opportunity to.
Definitely. So we'll see how they play out. Eddie, tell us, what players do you think Leo needs to watch out for?
Well, let me start off with where you guys were talking about your wingers. Right now, I don't know like the full diagnosis of Vagnoni's injury status, because he got pulled out of the game against Querétaro. So that kind of that as far as our defense is top notch. I mean, they can make up for Nico Sanchez, who he's in his mid-30s. Obviously, he's a little slower. But for the most part, I think I'm not sure what position, like on what wing side, Angel Mena plays. But if he gets matched up with Stefan Medina, I have no problem. When it comes to I know he's been really good this season so far, but Stefan Medina, for me, he's arguably one of the better fullbacks in the league. And so when he gets, I think he has, the potential to at least, have him quiet him down. But yeah, no, our defense right now, if Fagnoni's out, I will worry if they start Miguel Layun in either of the fullbacks, just because he's not very good at defending. So I mean, he's really good at creating some type of offense, but he's a liability defensively, and so they can be exposed. They can be exposed there. As far as the center backs, Cesar Montes, I think I'm a huge Cesar Montes fan. I'm a stan. But yeah, he's been really good. Right now, I think our biggest problem for our defense is just there's been a lot of miscommunications, which led to a lot of goals. I know, just the first goal against Querétaro, you had Vagnoni try to be aggressive. There was nobody to cover him just in case he missed. But yeah, it's been a lot of miscommunications on their part. And then as far as just players to look out for, I don't know what kind of formation Turco's gonna go with. Everybody that's like in the Rayados Twitter community has been wanting them to go 2 strikers just to have Jansen and Funes Mori, because it's been either or so far, and they haven't really gone full 90 minutes to give them to see what they can do together. They'll have moments in the game where they'll play 40, 50 minutes together, and then that will be it. But we don't get to see a full 90 minutes to see how they are together. And then as far as in the midfield, you have, I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about this, but Pizarro, I don't know if he's going to play or not. But Charlie Rodriguez, he's been, we're all so high on him, and we know a lot of us are kind of enjoying more than likely these last 6 months we have with him, because if he continues to play like he is, more than likely he'll be leaving. And then there's obviously, like, I can go down the list. Maxi Mesa, he's been really great. And then there's, like I said, I can go down all the list of players because they have so much talent. Like, I haven't even got to Cesar Ortiz.
Why do you guys keep buying players? You don't.
It's because we're rich. And then I even talked about, like, there's Granavita. We don't know if he's gonna play or not, because we have Necaxa, the Necaxa games before Leon. So and then like we're off to a slow start, so we need a good amount of bodies to rotate and see what goes on there. And then I even touched on Aquiloba, so it's like I don't even know who's gonna start. Like, I don't know. I can't say who's gonna start or not, because I think I'll have to be determined once they face Necaxa to see who starts, who doesn't, and then it'll be determined from there. But yeah, there's like a lot of players that I can go down the list, and I even touched on Dorlan Pavon either. So it's like an embarrassment of riches. That's why I know they'll figure it out.
Let me ask you this. I'm really curious. Do you guys think Monterrey buys what they need or what they want?
I think it's a little combination of both. I think this past window when they bought Aquilo. Let me just start with Aquiloba. They needed wingers. They need to get younger. Aviles he's not going to be there playing anymore. He's gone even after his contract is over. His contract is over in June, but I don't know. I know I was talking with Patrick, and he told me that there's going to be some issue, like, insurance issues with when it comes to, like, just the injury status, and we don't know. He might stay longer than when his contract expires. But even then, you have Dorlan Pavon. All the wingers for the most part are in their 30s, so they needed to get younger there. Gallardo, someone else I didn't even touch on. He's moving up. He's also someone that I don't trust as a left back. He's more of a wing back / winger. He's just better at creating offense. But yeah, they needed to get younger on the wing. And then if Charlie leaves this summer, then they needed someone in the midfield with Granavita. And then obviously if Pizarro leaves, they need it just adds more depth there. But Celso, he's in his 30s, so they need to get younger there. They need to get younger in the midfield, and then add someone that's a good, defensive midfielder, which Granavita is when he played at River. So this window, they did buy stuff that they really need. When you take back and look at the when you take a step back and look at the roster, they needed some of these type of players. And then we still haven't bought I mean, there's rumors that there's like a handshake agreement with Ramiro Funes Mori because we do need a center back. Nico Sanchez, obviously, he's our starter, but guys in his mid-30s, we need someone that's going to be in their prime, just because we need to get younger at center back. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we've bought stuff that the club actually needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think as someone who doesn't follow the Monterrey angle, Gotti, I just think, I mean, they buy these guys so that when guys like Pizarro go to MLS or like Rogelio are rumored to go to MLS, like the fan base doesn't even have to bat an eyelash because they have so many other options. Like, it's not a big loss. Like, if our players on our roster who are of that caliber, if we have any, were rumored to be leaving, it would be a huge deal for us because we know our club's not going to go on the kind of spending spree that Monterrey will. So I mean, I think it's more of it's an insurance policy more than anything. Yeah,
I like that. It's like an insurance policy. No, yeah, it's I mean, a good point.
That's my perspective. Yeah, as someone who's not attuned to the Monterrey Club Monterrey angle.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know. I feel like they, before the latest, signing, they have a squad. I just question what happened. And this is just me, Eddie. You know how I am. Like, this is just me, like, regular season, last season, you guys did not play well. Like, you guys made it milagrosamente to La Liguilla. You guys milagrosamente made it to the final because that game versus Necaxa, you guys should have lost it.
We're actually, like, if you go through our Twitter or our Twitter community, we are like so grateful for Juarez because they beat Pumas, and that kind of set that kind of we kind of put that as the how would you say it, the turning point, and that's when everything started going our way. We always came in. And then Turco came in, but like even then when he came in, even though we struggled, like we barely got a tie against Veracruz, and that's when I was like, you know what, blow it up, like I'm done. Let's just get this season over with because they're not going to be able to turn it around. They're going to embarrass themselves at the Club World Cup, and then the Tijuana against Cholos, they needed. It was already like a low. I remember I looked at some of like the statistics, just as the probability, but then it was like a 20% chance, and I was like, you know what, it's just not going to happen. And then next thing you know, stuff starts going our way. We beat Cholos, teams that need to lose, and yeah, like you said, we barely made it miraculously. And then when they just punched Santos in the mouth, I was like, who is this team and where's this team been all season? Because they nearly choked it away, but then they started punching them again, and I think it was like a 4-2 win. And yeah, it's like, where has this team been? And then it's like, and then it's just, they just go on a roll, and it ends up, they place third at the Club World Cup. They give Liverpool all they can handle, and then like we all saw, they take down America, and yeah, it's like, yeah, it's been a wild ride. And then I guess this is why I'm not panicking. It's just that, okay, we've seen this story before. When they need to win, they'll win. I just have that confidence in them, and especially when Jansen is in. And I know we haven't talked about him that much, but when he's in, it's just everybody gets like this calm feeling, like, okay, yeah, no, we know he's gonna get everybody to step up their game another level, because that's what he's been doing since he's got here. Like, since he's been playing consistently, like we saw against Santos, he just he becomes arguably the best player on the field. And we have this joke too, just because it was introduced to us by Spurs fans, that as a striker, the guy's really thick. Like, he's a thick guy. And when you look at some of the guys that are trying to cover him, he can just, and we can talk about it with from Leon's perspective. I'm not sure how your center backs can handle physicality, because he's a very physical guy. Like, he'll use his body. He's not afraid to. He's like a power forward in basketball, where he'll use his body, and sometimes it does. Some of the players don't like that, and then the guy can. He's not like your prototypical striker. He's not a poacher. He'll go into the midfield, grab the ball, link up the play, and it's just this team is filled with so much talent that I'm not going to press the panic button yet. It's like, yeah, it's a slow start, whatever, but just if they rattle off, if they can get, like I said, if they can get 4 out of these 6 points over these next 2 games this week, I'm calm. Like, I don't have to worry about it. Like I said, it's just get in. Like, I don't need for them to win get the first seed, get the second seed, get the third seed. They've shown that they can go on the road, in the second leg and win. So yeah.
You're very optimistic.
Oh, I mean, so last year, last year I was like, if you're talking to me this time, last year, in September, October, whatever, yeah, I would have been so panicking. I would have been like, yeah, this is the world's falling down on us. But after last year, where even, we're at the brink of losing to Veracruz, it's just, like, I've seen them at the worst, and then they were able to pull it together and win the league. So it's like, okay, just finish wherever and get in. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
What are you gonna say, Louis?
Well, first of all, the way he described, a thick striker who uses his body to his advantage, that reminds me of what we want Leo Ramos to be.
Yes.
But we haven't seen it yet. Like, technically, he fits that same profile.
Yeah.
But we just haven't seen it. If he could start to do that, and he's not going to link up play the same way. He just doesn't have that kind of speed or versatility, or but like in the area, using his strength to his advantage to get chances in the area like that. That's what we want to see for him, and just haven't. But here's my thing, my question really for you. Obviously, this isn't a normal campeonitis for Monterrey, because they basically didn't have an off season at all, and everything between the last few jornadas of the last season, just to be able to make the playoffs up until now, has just been one intense, high-profile match after another, and they haven't had a break. I mean, there's a fine line between having too much off-season and losing steam. You don't want that either, but not having a break at all. For me, it's perfectly understandable, the slow start that they have. I'm just wondering if you think it's anything more than that. I mean, if there's anything else going on that might contribute to this slow start, other than the fact that they're just tired, they're burned out. They've played so many high-profile matches and traveled so much and done all this stuff, and they haven't had any break, and they have to go right back to it. I mean, to me, the slow start is completely understandable. You think there's anything more to it than that, than what I just described?
I mean, we're just, like I said, if we're gonna put a finger on what's wrong, it has to be that they hadn't had a break. Like, even their quote unquote break as to why they needed to push the Liga back is because they were traveling 14 hours to Qatar and then 14 hours back. And it's just, this team really hasn't had a break. Even like their vacation time, everybody went their separate ways, and then they come back a week before the season starts, and you're asking, yes, these guys are paid handsomely to be professionals, but they're still human beings. Like, when we all come back from vacation, first week of work, we're not the same. It's just, I think, and then you have another reason, I think, is why, because now Turco is not trying to win at all costs like he was when he first got hired or rehired, but now he's trying to figure out, okay, he has a contract till 2021 where he's trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what's, now he's trying to get together his team, what he built, because a lot of these guys were either under him or brought in when Diego Alonso was here. So he's trying to figure out what works for him. I'm still waiting to see that Turco style where these guys were scoring 4 goals with Pato Sanchez, Edwin Cardona, Funes Mori, Pavon. I'm waiting to see that type of offense, because I love that offense, because they can score goals at will. And I'm still waiting for that to play out, but I know he's trying to figure out what works for him. And I know we'll get to Pizarro a little later, but he's not fitting in what he wants to do or how he wants to, to approach tactically. And so I think he's just trying to figure out what works for him and what doesn't before he finally commits to a regular starting 11, because that's what I've been wanting to see, or at least kind of get a hint of what he's looking for to see, a consistent starting 11 for him. So I think he's using these first few, weeks to figure out who can do what, and then figure out if they fit what he wants to do. So it's not often where a coach needs to use the regular season as a preseason, because in the preseason a coach can experiment. He could say, okay, let me try to put that player in that position, as he's doing with Charlie Rodriguez. He's putting him no longer as a central mid, but an attacking mid, to see if he can handle that added, responsibility and trying to generate more offense and actually score more goals. And like I saw against Celaya, he had granted Celaya is like a second division team, but when he was given that responsibility to play as an attacking mid, he kind of flourished. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, where he has to use parts of the regular season as a preseason, where he can experiment and figure out what players can play where, or what have you. But yeah, I'm still not, I'm not at the hit the panic, but I'm also I'm taking a step back from a fan, realizing that he didn't get a preseason where he can experiment with lineups and players and see who fits where, or what can do, or who can do what. So I'm just taking that into account as to why they're starting slow, along with the no break.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe the slow start could be related to the fact that they've already tasted glory? They've already won 2 championships last year, 2 titles, and they've reached the pinnacle of their success, and they're pretty much relaxing now and saying, okay, we already won it. We don't have anything to prove now.
A bit of complacency, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that was my fear a little bit. But then when I hear Turco talk about, he went to Argentina, he talked about it, and then he did it with Fox when it was the last weekend when they were in Mexico City taking on Pumas. They talked about they want to win. There's only been a few handful of teams to win both the Apertura and the Clausura. There's only been a handful of teams that have done that in the entire history. And so he's talked about how he wants to make history, how everybody in the club wants to be part of that history. So I think that's what's kind of motivating them. And I think that they want to go down as one of, he wants to just make history with this club. And I think that's going to motivate some players. I know some players too coming in. That's why I kind of like them spending money. You bring in players who have something to prove, like Kanane Victor. He kind of he tasted glory with River. He went out to Europe. He floundered. He played with some big clubs, but he wasn't able to find a home. And he's come in. He knows his role. He's familiar with some of the players on the team, but he has something to prove to himself, to everybody else. So and then you have Akiloba, who young guy, he wants to taste glory too. They're bringing in guys with added motivation that are impact players, but again, have something to prove to themselves and to the league. So I like that they're bringing in, because I would be worried a little bit if it was just the same team that came back. Now I would be a little bit worried. Hey, you think that they can ramp it up again and go at it again? But I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll be complacent. They know that they're trying to make history, and I think that Turco just doesn't want to be one of the managers that just wins one league title with them. I think we all know he has a soft spot for the club, considering his son was a supporter of the club before he passed away. And I think he wants to, if he ever decides to leave again, I think he wants to leave with multiple titles. I think that losing 2 league titles, or 2, to Pachuca and to Tigres, kind of, I think he made up for one. I think he probably wants to make up for the other. So I think there's some motivation in there, but I can see your point as to them being complacent, especially with the same people back. But I like to think that they're trying to make history this clausura.
Yeah, well, I think Turco is a perpetually underrated coach. I mean, if I were him, I'd be perfectly satisfied with my career, 3 titles with 3 different teams. But he's always got that chip on his shoulder. I feel like the clubs he's won with don't value him in the way that they should, and what he's brought to them. So I agree with you. I think he wants to win another title in Monterrey. I would only say, just to your point about how hard it is to win both the Apertura and Clausura. Well, the last team to do it, of course, was León. So we don't want to see Monterrey do that this season. That would not be an agreeable circumstance for our fan base.
It is true. It is true.
But yeah, I just have one other question for you, Eddie. I'm wondering, like, so we briefly mentioned that the Leon game is not the next game for Monterrey. On Wednesday, they face off against Necaxa, and the makeup game for the Jornada Uno that they were not able to play the same time as the other teams. I'm wondering which of the two matches, Necaxa or Leon, you think that Monterrey will prioritize, and which one do you think we're more likely to see as close to an ideal starting 11 as possible? Just because that obviously, if they prioritize the Necaxa game more, that obviously affects our predictions and what we can expect for the match against Leon. They're both road games. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So I don't know what's the status on Hugo Gonzalez. I know he was injured this past weekend for Necaxa, and he's arguably been their MVP. He's been, if not the best goalkeeper in Liga MX, he's one of the best. And if he can't go, I think that's the one they should prioritize, just because with their offensive attack, I don't know who's their backup, but if they can test the Necaxa's backup goalkeeper, then that's the one I wanna win. Because like I said, at the minimum, they should be walking away with at least 4 points. I think they can get a draw against Leon, but it all depends what happens with Necaxa. If they can, if they can jump on Necaxa for not having their starting goalkeeper, then they should not easily, but they should win that game, considering all the players that have left Necaxa this past winter. So that's the one I would prioritize, just because they're limping in, or they're Necaxa is a wounded animal. So just take advantage that their best player is probably not going to start. I wouldn't expect him to start, but I haven't read up on any injury update on him, but he shouldn't be starting. But yeah, that's the one I would prioritize, and then just try to get a draw in Guanajuato with Leon. But I mean, as we saw last year, even when Leon jumped up 2-0, I'm not trying to open up wounds here, but even when Leon looked like, okay, it looks like they're gonna pile on our misery somehow, and this is what I wanted to bring up too. It's like we're in the same position we were in the Apertura, where okay, we need to win because we need to get some points and hurry up and try to just try to get our season on track. And they were able to beat Leon 3-2, coming back from a 2 deficit lead. So,
I remember.
Yeah,
I was there watching it live and in person. It was pretty painful.
So we'll see. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of not worried. It's just they're in the same position they were last season. So, but yeah, I would prioritize just the Necaxa game, just because they're without their best. They're going to be without their best player. At least I think they will. And then just try to get a point against Leon. I know Leon right now is coming in hot, and just try not to embarrass yourself.
Of course, we're hot. We should be the team you fear every single weekend.
Well, yeah, I don't feel confident at all ever against Monterrey. I've been in nearly 200 matches, and they're the only team I've never seen us beat, I believe. In Copa once, but in a league match, never. And there have been some good chances. It never seems to matter how poorly Monterrey is coming in playing. Doesn't matter whether it's here in Leon or there in Monterrey. They're our Coco. We can never, in these last few years anyway, we just can't do anything against them. So I don't care how they might come in banged up for having hope. My hope is that they have to play a really tough match in Necaxa, so that they come in battle weary, and that maybe we have a chance.
Yeah. I mean,
I just never feel confident.
I want to ask you guys this: just how's your defense gonna? I don't think they're gonna go with 2 strikers, just because they have 2 league matches. So I think they'll go rotating one striker, one striker going in on against Necaxa, and then the other one against Leon. But I think out of the 2, which one are you not looking forward to facing, or which one do you think your defense can handle? Like keep them, that you can contain them.
I'm never comfortable with Funes Mori. He scored. I think he scored against us every that he's played against us as a member of Monterrey. It's guaranteed that he's going to score at least one against us. We've never been able to contain him, I don't think we're in a start now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our defense
He's the.
super
Go ahead,
fragile.
Carlos.
Yeah, our defense is the worst. The worst part of our team is our defense right now. And I think Funes Mori might sneak one in. But we make up for our bad defense with our good offense. And that's why we have the highest goal scorer. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. And I pray that our defense isn't so fragile this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been
Mori.
Yeah, our defense has been, because we were talking about before you came on, that they look great against Pachuca, but maybe Pachuca's not a great test because they don't have a very strong attack. But then they go against Tigres and take care of business. So maybe we didn't give them enough credit. Maybe we did play well, but our defense did not look good against Morelia. So maybe it's an every other game kind of thing that our defense looks good. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, we know especially the talent that Monterrey does have offensively. I'm not feeling like 100% confident because, we talk about it every week since last season, how defensively we are not great. The CEO is our best center back. Barreiro is terrible. Like I just don't, he's a liability to us. So it's going to be interesting, but I think Leon, knowing that Monterrey is a challenge, especially offensively, they really need to give it 100% because if not, then it's going to be looking very, very bad for us Saturday night. So before we go to our predicted lineups, quickly, Pizarro, because, I follow MX Draft, which is a really reliable source that I have. MX Draft is like, I don't care what anybody says. If MX Draft tweets it, I believe it because they rarely miss.
Yeah.
Confirmed that Inter Milan is buying him, which is what I questioned.
You mean
Miami, sorry. Inter
Milan. He would want it to be Inter Milan.
I mean, sorry. Yeah. Miami, whatever. I don't follow MLS. I'm sorry. But I saw a tweet that David Faitelson had tweeted and kind of throwing it. 2017, Chivas buys Pizarro for 7.5. 2018, Rayados buys him for 14. Now he's going for 20. Is he worth the money? Maybe he was worth it before going to Rayados, because going to Rayados, he's had his, peaks, but not anything compared to before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, he's been inconsistent. There's moments where he dazzles you like he did against Tigres in that CONCACAF Champions League final. And then there's times where he'll go missing. Like for him, the biggest opportunity to go to Europe was the Club World Cup, and he didn't show up. He wasn't that good. And that's where Charlie Rodriguez kind of made himself known. He had even Xavi was raving. He had great reviews over him, and Pizarro was nowhere. Like he didn't have any. Like he's a great player. Like don't get me wrong. Like I love him. He's really good, but it's just that inconsistency where it frustrates you. It's like, why can't you just show up week in and week out? And then like against America, like in the final, Turco, he pulled him out. Like he had no trouble saying, you know what, you're at the Azteca in the second leg, where he wasn't being effective. And every pass or every time he had the ball, it's like the offense died with him, and it was like nothing was being generated. And as soon as they took him out and brought in Maxi Mesa was given way more effort. Granted, Mesa was having also a bad season, but like in one half, he was able to turn around the perspective around him, and Pizarro. It's just like there's a lot of people who don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him go, but when somebody's willing to overpay for him at that amount, I would say, you know what, he will be missed, but he's not irreplaceable. So I'm kind of torn on this. I like him. He's brought us some good memories. He helped us, overcome our league drought, and he gave us a international trophy. But I mean, I kind of see why he wants to leave. He's won everything in Mexico. but it's just if he thought about going to Europe, the inconsistency for me, it's done. I think even before this all came up, I kind of would talk about that he has MLS written all over him. Like he can devour MLS defenses, and yeah, it's just like it kind of came into fruition. But yeah, it's just he's been too inconsistent for a European team to take a gamble on him. He has a low release clause. It's like 8 million, but I guess the mid-table club doesn't want to take a gamble on that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he's going to do really well, no matter what. I agree with everything you just said. I think he's going to kill it in MLS. I think it's going to be a great situation for him to have a Carlos Vela type of situation. I think he's going to do really well.
Yeah, and he's Diego Alonso's the coach for Inter Miami, so there's the familiarity. There's they're familiar with each other, and he also doesn't really fit Turco's system. Like he just hasn't found his footing there, and he's kind of trying to show some frustration against Pumas that he got pulled again in the second half. And I know some people thought that he kind of left the bench. Some people said he went to the restroom. I don't think he went to the restroom. I really do. It would be weird to say, yeah, I came out or I went to the restroom during a middle. I mean, I don't believe that. I think he went off to just release some frustration or whatever. But I just he's kind of starting to show some attitude in terms of like it's just the Turco system is just not fitting what he is. Like I don't know. As Alonso's system fits him better, where he can be the main focal point rather than I think he'll do well with Miami and Alonso, but so far he just hasn't found his footing with Turco. I think he's gone. If he does, especially if he doesn't play this week, if he doesn't play either of the two games, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
All right.
I should address Javier's question real quick about the
one to Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay. Javier, who is missed today, he has a question for Eddie. I have a question for Eddie. As a Rayado fan, who do you think deserves the title of El Quinto Grande and why?
For me, I don't care if my club is considered a big club. I just want them to win. Like if you win and win often and spend the money that they're spending, it doesn't matter if other people say consider your club a big club. Like I'd rather just be winning and yeah. I mean, it's just if other people outside. I mean, I know Monterrey's reputation is growing, especially when you consider the fight that they gave Liverpool. Like we were just expecting we were expecting for it to just be a respectable match, but when you're tied 1-1 and it's gone down to the wire, I've seen a lot of people take interest, and then when you bring in players like Janssen who flourish, and like I was talking with someone who's based in the Netherlands a couple weeks ago, they talk about they want to watch him, they want to monitor him, so it's like the club's reputation is growing. But in terms of like, are they one of the big clubs in Mexico? I like to think so. I think for me, like, I don't know. Everybody has like their different criteria as to what they consider a big club. For me, it's winning trophies and being able to spend big amount of money, because that's what big clubs do, whether it's North America, South America, Europe. You got to win trophies and you got to spend big money and bring in players that, are going to make a difference. And so, yeah, it's just, I like to think that they're a big club, but for me, it's not like I don't need that validation from the outside world to think that for me they're a big club, and if they continue to keep winning, I think I tweeted this out before the season started. I think the 2020s are going to be a really good like decade for the club, just because they keep. I know you guys don't like to hear this, but they keep spending money on players that are well known. Like, I mean, we have this running joke that we are gonna bring in almost everybody that played for River Plate in that 2015 Copa Libertadores team, because we already have 5 out of the starting 11. Where if we get Ramiro Funes Mori, we're gonna have 6 out of the starting 11, and then we're gonna move over to the 2018 Copa Libertadores River Plate team. But we're bringing in players that everybody knows, like everybody is familiar. Like if you even follow like just Latin American soccer, who some of these players are because they won with River. And so it's just keep bringing in players that people are familiar with. If you can bring in a European like Janssen from time to time, I mean, for me, like I said, it doesn't. I don't listen to the outside world. If people want to label us a big club, if they don't, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's just if they keep winning, you can't keep you can't deny them that. And I know there's going to be Tigres fans that are going to be like, well, why aren't we a big club? But you got to win some type of international trophies. Like I'm not the biggest CONCACAF Champions League person, but that's our for our region, that's the biggest international trophy that somebody can win. And yeah, I mean that's the I want to go back into the Copa Libertadores someday, but until that happens, we have to focus on the CCL, and that's our region. That's the international trophy that is assigned to us. And I know some people don't like it, but that's just the cards that we're all dealt. And I know you guys are going to take part of it this year.
Oh, so. we were already super excited about it. I mean, I agree with you that like in a vacuum, it's not that prestigious of a tournament, but we are already relishing our opportunity to be in it again, and are anxious for it to start, for sure. Yeah.
Javier asked if you consider Tigres el Quinto Grande.
Yeah, I think we know the answer.
We know the answer now.
They got to win an international trophy. They don't have an international trophy. That's my criteria.
No, to your point, I think if you don't win, you can't even be in the conversation. And for me, it's not even Quinto Grande. It's which is more of a Cuarto Grande than Pumas, because if we're talking about winning, I mean, Toluca and León have even Monterrey, Tigres now, I'd say, have a better argument than Pumas. I don't know, just because they beat Real Madrid once. But other than that, like, I don't know. And they don't spend money anymore. They're consistently way farther behind in the spending than the other 3 that are considered the big 4. So I don't know. But to your point, I also agree that it's kind of a silly argument. I think in León we feel the same way. As long as our team's winning or in the hunt, we don't care what they think of us in terms of like labels.
Definitely. Yeah. So moving along, let me just read one comment in the chat and then we'll go to predictions. 619 said León le puede ganar a Monterrey, nomás que no se confíen y pongan una mejor defensa. Pongan a Ramiro. He agrees with us, Louis. Yeah. Y quiten a Barreiro, Sosa enfrente con Mena y Sosa. So he also agrees that Sosa deserves a start.
Yeah, I just don't.
We just don't see it.
I just don't see it happening. I would like to see how that would work too, but I just don't think now that Ambriz is gonna go that route. At least not now.
Yeah. So moving on to predicted lineup, Carlos and Louis, what do you think? Repetimos lineup?
Same lineup. Yeah. Same lineup.
Same.
Okay. I would hope maybe with F. So we have to figure out who's gonna start for Aquino in the competición.
Right.
Yeah. I was wondering when you were talking at the beginning of the show, Carlos, about Ivan, like if he's practicing full strength, is he good to start on Saturday? I don't know. That's something we don't know yet.
That's a very good question. I don't know.
If it is, then we can pretty much seamlessly transition without losing too much.
Yeah.
If he isn't, well, that raises a big question. Who's going to, maybe if they'll go with one of the juveniles, I don't know. But other than that,
that'd be really risky.
It would be really risky, and it's not our style. He doesn't. I mean, he's not gonna. If he's not gonna throw Nico Sosa into the fire, he's not gonna throw a juvenil into the fire like that either, and give him starters minutes.
I think he's gonna bring back. I think he's gonna bring back Ivan Ochoa.
Oh God, I hope not.
I mean, that's our only option.
Yes.
Yeah. If only Ivan was working, like up to speed, like everything, then yeah, it's a no-brainer. But he just started training last week. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting because I guess we're thinking, are they gonna look into his red card because I think he was wrongly sent off, which was pretty funny because I thought, oh, but like, it's week 4, you're already expulsado. He's, he has that, temperament. But if not, then it'll be an interesting slot to fill.
Pedro Aquino was once property of Monterrey, right? Wasn't he Monterrey? He was and then he was on loan and Lobos.
Yeah, I think he was.
I thought it was Tigres, but it might have been
Monterrey.
It might have been Monterrey. I thought it was Tigres though.
We should look into that.
I think I'm pretty sure it was Monterrey.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the only question. That's really the only question mark lineup wise for us. I think he'll go with the remaining 10 will still be in. Ramos might have a shorter leash, especially if we're like itching for if we really need a score. He might go with Nico Sosa. Give him a little. I would hope so. Give him a little more of a longer leash. I don't think Aquino's suspension will be appealed. I agree it was extremely weak, but the laws of the game do dictate that there doesn't have to be contact made for it to be a foul. He did kind of step in there. He didn't make contact. He didn't trip him, but he made him adjust his movement in a way that would be very hard to determine on replay whether it affected the fall or not. I just don't think I don't see them overturning that suspension. So I'm pretty sure we will be without Aquino for the next, not just this game, but the one after, because game and a half or even 2 games because of Ambriz's stupid rule of benching his players for an additional game if they get sent off, other than the one that's required.
Yeah.
Which I think you'll have to ban that, especially with the CCL coming up.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Eddie, give us your predicted lineup for what team we can see.
Again, I gotta see what goes on first at the Necaxa game, because I don't think they'll go with the same starting, especially too with the amount of foreigners that we have. We have a crazy amount of foreigners, so we'll see what goes on there. But if I had to like make a solid prediction, I would go with, if Vagnoni doesn't play, I think it'll go Gallardo at left back, center backs Nico and Cesar, right back Stefan Medina, in the midfield. There's talk that maybe Craneviter can start just because Pizarro isn't going to play. I don't think he's going to play. But I would just like to see Celso as the lone like defensive mid, and then the centrals with I think Maxi Mesa and Charlie Rodriguez, and then if they're gonna go with the wings, I don't know. It's just I think they'll go like a 4-2-3-1. Where they'll probably have one lone striker, and they'll probably be either Jansen or Funes Mori, whoever doesn't get the start on Wednesday. It's just that game against Necaxa is kind of throwing me off, and like, I don't know who's gonna start. So I can be completely wrong, but I know for a fact one of the strikers is going to be Funes Mori or Jansen. Whoever doesn't start against Necaxa, then they'll probably give them the game on Saturday. But as far as like the defense in the midfield, it should be more than likely what we saw against Querétaro. Maybe outside chance we see a Craneviter, but for the most part, it'll be the similar lineup that we saw against Querétaro. But with like if Fagnoni's out, he'll probably Gallardo will probably play down as a left back rather than as a left midfielder or a left winger.
Yeah. By the way, I think if Hugo Gonzalez does not suit up for Necaxa, it will be Oscar Gutierrez in goal. So you can take that into consideration. He's not great, but I remember him playing sort of okay back before Hugo was a starter. Yeah.
We'll see how that matchup goes for Monterrey against Necaxa. So now it's prediction time, finally. I know Javier gave us his prediction on the chat. He said, my prediction is Leon 3-2 against Monterrey. So there's Javier's prediction. Let's go ahead and start with Louis. Your prediction for Saturday.
I'm going to go fairly optimistic here. I'm going to go with a 3-1.
Okay.
We finally break our curse of the last The last time we beat Monterrey in a league match was in the Tecnológico. I'm pretty sure.
A long time ago.
And so we're finally going to break that endless, awful streak of not being able to beat them in league matches, or even in stupid friendlies in San Antonio. We can't beat them. Yeah. So I'm going to go with the 3-1 goals by Mena, Desillo. I'm going to go with Desillo and Meneses again. And of course the obligatory goal en contra by Funes Mori, who I think will start. I think Jansen will start against Necaxa, and Funes Mori will start in León, because of course he will, because he always scores against us. And so yeah, 3-1 win for León.
3-1 Louis. Carlos, your prediction, sir.
So I'm gonna say that Monterrey are not going to beat Necaxa, so they're gonna come into León in a must-win situation. It's going to be a higher scoring game. 3-2. I'm going to go 3-2 like Javier. I think Monterrey is going to bring it to us. They're going to have to win, and obviously we have a lot of offensive firepower. Goles by Mena, Meneses, and let's give one to Chapo. I haven't seen Chapo score in a while.
Chapito.
And then I predict that there's going to be some kind of VAR decision that gives Monterrey a free penalty or something.
Oh, already controversial.
Which Nico Sanchez will obviously score.
Yeah. So 3-2. 3-2.
3-2 Carlos. I'm gonna go with a 3-1, like Louis said. 3-1 victory. I predict Meneses, Mena, and I need Nico Sosa to sub in and get his goal. So that'd be a great way to estrenarse, especially in casa. So Eddie,
if ever
prediction. Sorry.
No, just gonna say. No, go ahead, Eddie. Then I'll.
So I'll give 2, just because it can. If they lose or get a draw against Necaxa, then they'll have to start thinking, okay, we need to win this game against León. If they win against Necaxa, then it can be, okay, you know what? We don't have to put our full maximum starting 11 in a must-win game. We can, they can figure it out. They can patch together something that can get them at least a draw. But if they lose against Necaxa or get a draw, I think I'm gonna go with another 3-2 win for Monterrey, as last year showed. I'm hoping that you guys don't, protect the lead, because if you guys start doing that, then you're really playing with fire when you give Monterrey possession of the ball and opportunities to create chances. But if they beat Necaxa, then I'm going to go with maybe a 2-2 draw. I do think I share with you guys. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. It's not going to be, when you have these two type of offenses and shaky defenses, I think whoever can limit the amount of damage the other offense can do will probably win the game. I just have so much faith in Cesar Montes and Stefan Medina. I'm a little worried if Gallardo ends up starting as a left back, and then you have Nico, who there's times where he could show his age, but Montes can sometimes cover for that. But if there's no Bagnoni, then I'm a little worried, just because our left side can be exposed a little bit. But I think they can either pull out a win or a draw, depending on what happens with Necaxa.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 different predictions Eddie gives. Louis, yours.
I just think that if they're, regardless of the mentality that Monterrey is going to come in with, depending on their Necaxa result, I think we're really glad we're facing them at the beginning of the season when they're still figuring things out. I think, if there's ever been a chance to catch them on when they're at their most vulnerable, it's now. Mm-hmm. Playing at home and when they're still figuring things out, and when they have 2 matches in a week. I think there's a lot of things stacked in our favor. Granted, they've been our coco against them no matter what the circumstances have been, even when they haven't been playing great. We just can't seem to figure them out. But I'm saying that this is the time that's going to change. So I hope so.
Yeah. It'll be a very interesting game. But yeah, I think in conclusion, we all agree it probably will be a high scoring game. We'll see who it favors because Leon is super leader and Eddie. I mean, I know you got Necaxa and then us, but you're in 17th place with 1 point, sir.
Oh,
I mean,
Didn't you call us frauds? Didn't you call us frauds last year?
when did I ever call you guys?
I know
frauds?
you had Cesar Hernandez on your show. I remember it. I don't know what exactly was the context, but I saw that tweet where like I'm not afraid of Monterrey. They're frauds, and I've bookmarked that tweet, and I've been waiting.
I know
for the
you
day
did.
I come
I know
on
you
this
did.
podcast so I can be like, didn't you call us frauds when we're at our
You
worst?
guys are frauds. I've told you this before. You know what happened last season, Eddie?
And then you
Luck.
and then you were like, oh, Celaya is gonna beat Monterrey, and then
because the first leg of that game, our boy Carlos Guerrero was playing on the other team, Celaya. The first leg game was really interesting, and Celaya was up there pushing on y'all. So of course I was gonna go for Celaya.
It was a mixed team.
It would have been fun to see Celaya.
It was our youth
yeah.
and it was our youth and our starters. So it's like, you know.
Hey, no.
Look, we got to talk about this anti-Rayados hate.
It's not an anti-Rayados.
Oh, believe me, there's a lot more anti-Tigre hate if it's any consolation.
Look, when it comes to Monterrey and Tigres, I'm rooting for Monterrey. I cannot stand Tigres. I will never root for Tigres. Yes, we all here agree that.
You should see
I call Monterrey a fraud because of last season, because the way they got to the final, it made me really think about how football is. And Tom has always told me this. And I finally understood the concept of luck in football. And that is what happened. You know what I mean? I am so glad you guys beat America, because just like we all hate Tigres here, we all can't stand America.
Yeah.
But the way you guys got, it was just like, wow, luck really does exist. Like, what did Monterrey balling out team do to get to the final? And then that's what happens. I don't know. We know how I feel.
We beat Santos. We beat Necaxa. We beat like everybody that
Necaxa. It was supposed to be like, it wasn't supposed to go like that. That's the game where I really realized, wow, like this is insane. Like Monterrey got really lucky.
I'm gonna share a quick story. Just because of that luck, we were there was a picture going around with Chupete Suazo. Like he was in a like those old school Ray sunglasses and like I think it was like a straw cowboy hat. And everybody thought, okay, this is our good luck charm. This is every time somebody shares this photo or everybody starts making this photo, their default picture on Twitter, we win. And then like it just took a moment. You're like, this is how funny Monterrey Twitter or Rayados Twitter can be. Everybody just turned their default picture into that Suazo photo that some people still have, but that was one that just kind of took off as our good luck charm. And then even Suazo, I think he was at I'm not sure if he was before the Liga or during the Liga, but he showed up and they had him take like a new updated picture of him in sunglasses and a straw like cowboy hat. And yeah, that was our good luck charm. That photo right there was our good luck charm. So yeah, that's how funny Monterrey Twitter can be. That for people who don't, who think that there's not another.
We thought Javier Torrente's shirt was a good luck charm at one point. So
yeah, they were even selling it outside the stadium.
They started they started selling it in La Guarida in the official team store.
Oh,
yeah, that's how. So we understand about Kabbalahs,
Yeah, definitely. But well, that's the end of this pod. Thank you everybody who was on the pod tonight, on the live chat. I know Javier missed out on hosting with us. 619. Thank you. Our friends from the Eagle Eye podcast, thank you for stopping by. Also Cesar, thank you. Fierate AGAM and Fernando Renteria, thank everybody that jumped on the Monday Night Football Lions Den podcast tonight. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us, helping us preview. Had a little fun.
No problem. First, before you sign off, I want to apologize for my cats. They're running around. This is why I only do audio. this is why I only do an audio podcast, because they're running around and I'm just trying to concentrate. So everybody that's watching, I really do apologize. Again, this is why I only do audio, and I live on a busy street in LA. So apologize for the cats and some of the noise. I try to control it with my mic. So yeah, I know you guys are trying to run a professional podcast. So yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, thank you once again. Hopefully we'll have you later, maybe the season. Who knows? Maybe we'll bump into Ligia and we'll have a kind of a rematch of this podcast.
And if we have to take down another Super League, then I think we'll probably have to do that too.
Okay. Yeah. Stop throwing flowers at yourself. It's too early. You guys talk to us whenever you're in the first 8 positions. Not right now. Not right now. But thank you guys for joining us another Monday Night Football. Don't forget to follow clubleoning.com. As you see on the screen, we can find everything Club Leon content in English, find articles regarding recaps of the games and previews. But yeah, so Louis, take it home.
Yeah, well, we got a really exciting February. Is going to be a very exciting month for the club. 5 big matches, and our Conca Champions appearance, which basically is our last remaining memory and prize of the great season that we had 2 seasons ago. So we've got a lot of great content coming for you guys. So keep listening. Hope you guys are enjoying what you're hearing. Hopefully you're enjoying the content that we're providing. And you guys have a great week, and go Club León, arriba la fiera. Hopefully a great match coming on Saturday against Monterrey. See you guys.
Bye, guys.